News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali on TV1.
And a very good evening to you. This is Newsline and welcome, a warm welcome. My guest this evening is a retired leisure hospitality industry professional with years and years and years of experience. But she's right here on our program, Ms. Lakmini Raymond. Good evening to you, Lakmini, and welcome to the program.
Good evening, Faraz. Good to be with you.
Thank you.
On Newsline.
Obviously, the hot topic in the hospitality circles, especially in Colombo, is this minimum rate business. Is this good? Is this bad? Is it mediocre? Do we need it? Tell us the story.
Minimum rate is not a new story. Minimum rate has been in various stages implemented in Sri Lanka since 1989, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Minimum rate is good when the country is going through a low demand period. Especially the minimum rate is not for Sri Lanka. People must understand that the minimum rate is only for the Colombo city hotels, where we have the largest inventory of rooms in a city is in Colombo. And since the demand has dropped due to various situations in the country, we have, it's a good thing that when we implement minimum rate, it helps our hoteliers in sustaining a rate within the hotels in Colombo.
So what will the effect be for the Colombo hotels of this, the introduction of this minimum rate? Will they all sell at the same rate?
No, it will be categorized by star category. So you will have the Gazette notification is out, but it normally, when we do a minimum rate, it is on star category. So you'll have 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, and all the hotels that are registered under the city hoteliers in the Tourist Board of Colombo, in the license of the Tourist Board, comes under this minimum rate Gazette notification. The Gazette is out as of 1st October.
So it could help the city hotels. But of course, this isn't applicable out of Colombo, is it?
It is not applicable, no. It's only for the city hotels in Colombo.
Talking more on a broader perspective about our tourism and leisure sector in Sri Lanka, what should the ideal position be? Should Sri Lanka go after the numbers in terms of tourist arrivals, or should they go after the revenue?
Actually, there is no short or long answer that I can give you. As you know, Sri Lanka has always been a great destination to promote tourism. Tourism is one of our key economic indicators. But however, the different economic, political problems has created big, what shall I say, valleys and mountains in the way the occupancies have peaked and come down. So I think for the first short term, it would be good if you go for volume. Once we start having Sri Lanka as a destination, a safe destination, and the numbers start coming in, then we can slowly move towards revenue. But right now, Sri Lanka needs the numbers.
Looking at a sort of wider, even wider than we just spoke about, perspective, what do you mean by safe? What does that mean? This is slightly political. Do you mean that we mustn't have protests on the streets? We mustn't have the police or the army or whoever shooting off water cannons and the odd tear gas canisters, expired or not? And do you mean that? Is that what you mean?
Yes, part of it, you cannot have military intervention where the media will exploit it
media exploits military intervention. If there's any type of political unrest, it's going to be publicized all over the world, and that will create a doubt in the traveler. That cannot happen. You cannot have situations where the media shows any type of violence, even just a water cannon. You can't, because people are going to an unknown country that they wouldn't know that it is a simple protest. So you cannot have negative media. That doesn't give the traveler the confidence to come to a country. You need to have confidence, right? Especially because Sri Lanka is a country that has had political violence.
Okay, but I must sort of correct the position, because clearly I am a member of the media, and we passionately, especially at News First, the Capital Maharaja Group's media stables, we passionately believe in eyewitness reporting. And if it's happening out there, and that is what we will report. So there's no good anyone blaming us, because we're only telling the public, whether here or abroad, what's happening. So if the government doesn't want negativity, then they must make sure that the negativity doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen when you're living in a nice, robust democracy. I'll take that as a correction there. But I understand what you're saying. So when there's negativity, people won't come. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, because people need the confidence to travel to a country.
I just asked a friend of mine to give me, off the top of his head, some good reasons for visiting Sri Lanka. Here's what he told me. He said, wildlife, the unique cultural heritage, the tea plantations, the variety of the food, train journeys, beaches, and the tropical climate. Each of these things have various challenges. For example, if we take wildlife, are our national parks accessible? Is it overcrowded? Are they safe once they're inside the park? Those are, is there accommodation within the parks, for example, as well? Would you agree that these are the main selling points of Sri Lanka?
I would say it would be the more known features of tourism in Sri Lanka. Wildlife, yes, because we have the elephants, we have the leopards, that is now world renowned, that we have one of the highest density of leopards in Sri Lanka. We have the elephant population, even though we have a lot of problems about how we are taking care of them, it's still one of the most unique species that you can come and see in Sri Lanka, and so easily that you can see them. So I think, yes, the beaches are our strong feature, the tea plantations, the train journeys, food, culture. It's everything. Sri Lanka has everything to offer.
And yet Sri Lanka has everything to offer, and yet Sri Lanka is in the doldrums in terms of dollars. No dollars. The governor of the central bank, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, is forever. I mean, I pity him, because he might end up, his head might end up like mine without any hair, because he's pulling all his hair out. There's no dollars. So what's the secret, Lakmini Raymond, my guest today on Newsline? What's the secret? How do we get Sri Lanka rolling in the dollars?
Personally, being in the industry for over 35 years, I think this is the best time that all stakeholders, government, private sector, every single stakeholder that is a part of tourism have to come together as in unity and actually go out there with one voice, giving the travelers the confidence to come to Sri Lanka. There are lots of issues, yes, but that is secondary. First, we have to position Sri Lanka that it is a safe, it is a great country, it has everything that they need to offer within a small radius where they can, move from wildlife to beaches, from beaches to mountains. I mean, we have all spoken about it. I don't even have to keep repeating it. We all know it. But how are we as a country, as stakeholders in this industry, what are we doing together to position Sri Lanka, to give the people the confidence, to bring the people to Sri Lanka? Even airlines. I mean, we have such little airlines coming to Sri Lanka still. I mean, Emirates, Qatar are one of the biggest carriers, but we don't have any European airlines coming to Sri Lanka. So there are lots of elements that we have to get together. The travel agents, the airlines, the tourist board, all stakeholders, hoteliers, people who are, stakeholders in this industry have to come together. I mean, everybody can't think in silos. Oh, we are tour operators. We are hoteliers. We are, transport people. Or we are the airline. We all have to come together and find a way in one voice to go out there and position Sri Lanka. Give the confidence that come to Sri Lanka and we will look after you. We will give you an amazing experience.
But Lakmini Raymond, my guest this evening on Newsline, ladies and gentlemen, is it also true that these airlines, it's a highly competitive business out there, and when foreign airlines consider coming into Sri Lanka, they are met with one of the region's highest airport charges, landing and takeoff charges, and the use of equipment. For example, the national airline has a monopoly on the baggage services, where the conveyor belt is on lease to Sri Lankan Airlines, and heaven knows how much they charge. So these advantages have been actually turned into disadvantages to the detriment of the wider people of this country.
So that is exactly what I just told you. We as a country should get all stakeholders. Airlines, airport aviation, they all are the stakeholders in the tourism industry. So we all have to get together. We all have to get together and come into one voice, and with the help of the tourist board, with the help of the private sector, that we should go out there and position Sri Lanka. We can't work in silos. I mean, airport and aviation cannot work on their own, and airlines can't work on their own, and hoteliers can't work on their own, travel agents can't work on their own, tourist board can't be, being independent and do as the government body do what they want. No, we all have to get together. But I personally think that is what we lack in Sri Lanka, that we can come together as one voice.
Lakmini Raymond, my guest. Tell me, Lakmini, is there a danger when we are promoting Sri Lanka as our tourism development authority is doing and so on, and hopefully spending the cess money that is collected to develop the industry? When we sort of advertise all over the world, is there any danger of over-visitation? Because after all, Sri Lanka, our tourism is selling our country, our natural resources. Unlike in Dubai, which is, it's don't get angry with me, Dubai, but it's all full of concrete, jungles, and shopping malls, and everything's man-made. So is there a danger that Sri Lanka might end up being an over-visited place?
Not in the short term. In the long term, if we do not take the necessary precautions, it could be. And for that to happen, it might take another 5-10 years, because as you know, Sri Lanka still hasn't even come to 1 million people. Many years ago, I may be using somebody's quote, so excuse me, anybody who hears it. Sri Lanka as a destination should be a traveler's destination and not a tourist destination. Why I'm saying is Dubai, Singapore are tourist destinations. They have to create attractions. They have to create unique experiences to get tourists there. Sri Lanka is a traveler's destination because by nature, we have such unique and wonderful locations. So when you move from being a tourist destination to a traveler's destination, you will overcome this problem of overcrowding the country. If we start pushing our country as a traveler's destination, because you know all our attractions are unique to Sri Lanka. You take our cultural triangle, our tea estates. Those are travelers' destinations. People who want to travel, not just come in buses or just look for, just man-made experiences. Then they can go to Dubai, they can go to Singapore. But Sri Lanka is so unique. They should make it a traveler's destination, work towards it to be positioned as a traveler's destination.
And what about this, Lakmini? In Sri Lanka, what do you think would be an optimum number of visitors that we ought to be aiming? Having said that, I've just got the figures here from Thailand. They're at 38 million tourists, which is absolutely marvelous. But I mean, if we had 38 million in this country, we'd all be, there'll be tourists camped at the News First car park.
But again, as I said, we are not a Thailand. We have to make the position ourselves as this unique destination.
How many tourists? How many tourists? What do you think is a good figure? 4 million? 5 million?
It would be very difficult for me to say, because I think the largest number we had, I think, is about 2.5 million, close to 2.5 million, the last. So I think it would be good to first aim at about 4 million and see how Sri Lanka is positioned and how we have managed 4 million. And then you can push your numbers. As I said, Sri Lanka needs a short-term strategy, a mid-term strategy, and a long-term strategy. Since Sri Lanka for so long has not had big numbers. So
how do hotels, the biggest challenge would appear to be human capital and training. How on earth are we going to get them done if we don't have the numbers and the revenue?
You'll have to rephrase that question. Yes, human capital is going to be the biggest challenge for hoteliers in Sri Lanka, because we need to have trained personnel, and Sri Lanka also has been almost like the training ground for hospitality personnel, for Dubai, for the entire Middle East, for Maldives. We have been the training ground. But it will come a time that people will come back to Sri Lanka. But I don't think we are going to have sufficient people. Sri Lanka is not a country that has a huge population. We have 21 million people, which is a comparatively small population to other countries that have big tourist numbers. And any other country like Maldives and Middle East and Singapore bring in expatriate workers. We are in that position.
But, for Maldives, for example, they don't have their human capital isn't entirely from the Maldives. There are not many. I don't think there's enough fish in the Maldives to feed everybody. And so likewise, I'm sure they don't have enough people to employ in their hotels. So they let labor to be imported. The minute you do that in Sri Lanka, we will have the trade unions protest, we will have all sorts of nonsense, and then the media will show that on television and they will stop coming. So, catch 22. Don't you think that the government should have a holistic policy that takes in everything into account? I know that Mahinda Rajapaksa had opened a school down south, and I heard him once complaining that it wasn't full enough because people were sending their children, instead of to Aungal, they were sending them to Cornell and all sorts of other places, using up the scarce dollars that we have. The US Embassy, I just saw a statement, they're having some university fair in Colombo soon. Well, that's a bit unfair. We don't have dollars to pay those fees. The little dollars we have, they coming and grabbing it and taking it away. So, I sit there wondering, what on earth, are they really here to help us? What can we do to help ourselves the easiest way?
See, hospitality needs hospitality schools in Sri Lanka. And also hospitality is a very labor-intensive industry.
Yeah.
We need such a varied amount of people. I mean, people think about chefs. We need engineers, we need housekeepers. Every hotel has to have a tailor. I mean, it's like a mini city. It's a very labor-intensive industry. So one of the things that I think, like I said, all stakeholders, is also how are we going to manage what we're going to pay? How are we going to pay these people in hospitality?
Which is why we need good rates.
Yeah, we need good rates, and we need good schools. We need exposure for these hospitality personnel who come into our industry. I always say we are not a culture that eats Western food and drink coffees and have cocktails. So when we bring in a boy or a girl or anybody from out of a city, everything has to be taught. They have no palate for the food they are going to serve or eat or drink. So it's a big challenge for hoteliers. Sending them to a hospitality school or a skill development is one part. Then bringing them into the industry and giving them the exposure to what hospitality is all about. I mean, what an absolute clean bed looks like, what a bathtub has to look like. It's a lot of work for hoteliers to train these boys and girls when they come into hospitality. So that when I say stakeholders, it's not just, as I said, the big name saying hotelier, travel agent. Education comes in. Government education system comes in. Policy comes in. Are we going to be ready to handle 2.5 million, 3 million tourists? Are we going to have enough trained staff?
It's been a very intensive but enjoyable discussion. Lakmini Raymond, thank you very much. And we'll let you go off to your dinner arrangements. But that's the way it was, ladies and gentlemen, on Newsline today. Thank you. Take care. Have a great evening as much as you can. And God bless you all.
I've been losing sleep, dreaming about
A very good evening and welcome. This is News First Primetime News here on TV1. Today is the 4th of September 2023. For the News First team, I am Jarma Ratnayaka.
And I'm Mariam Ganavijaya. Before we head on to our stories in detail, here's a look at your top stories for tonight.
Lawyers Collective calls to protect the independence of the judiciary. UK's Channel 4 to telecast shocking details of Easter attacks. State Intelligence Chief demands 50 million rupees each from 2 Catholic priests for allegedly making defamatory comments. United National Party Convention postponed. SLPP to introduce a new program to approach the masses. Trade unions and professionals ready to strike against unjust taxes and economic crisis. Litro increases domestic LP gas prices.
In your top story for tonight, the Lawyers Collective stressed that there should be zero influence on Sri Lanka's judiciary.
Comments over the matter were expressed during a seminar in Colombo today.
A seminar on the executive, democracy and the judiciary took place in Colombo, and it was attended by the former chairpersons of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, university teachers, civil activists and others. President's Counsel Dr. Jayampati Vikramaratne expressed these views.
අධිකරණය ක්‍රියා කරන්නේ රාජ්‍ය නාමයෙන් වුවත් එය නීතිය සම්පාදනය කරන ව්‍යවස්ථාදායකයන් මෙන්ම නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන විධායකයන්ද වෙන්ව.
Though the judiciary functions in the name of the state, it must be separate from the legislature and the executive. When it comes to domestic debt optimization, the president said that the government will not heed orders or advice from any other party except parliament. The Speaker of Parliament also noted that any proposal passed in parliament cannot be challenged in court. Clearly, this is wrong. Any proposal or regulation in Parliament can be reviewed in court, and it was further stressed by Justice Veeramantri in the case of K. Rambanda versus the River Valleys Development Board in 1968. We as the Lawyers Collective emphasize that there can be no direct or indirect influence on the judiciary when reviewing government operations as per the Constitution and as per the law. We will unite for democracy, rule of law and the independence of the judiciary. It is our responsibility to speak up for the judges who have not been able to speak when judicial independence is threatened.
දංගා නියමන සෞමාර්ථන මණ්ඩලය නඩුවේ. ව්‍යවස්ථාවට හා නීතියට අනුව රජයේ ක්‍රියාමාර්ග සමාලෝචනය කිරීමේදී ඍජුව හෝ වක්‍රව අධිකරණයට කිසිදු ආකාරයෙන් බාධා නොකළ යුතු බව නීතිඥ සාමූහිකය අපි අවධාරණය කර සිටිනවා. ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය, නීතියේ ආධිපත්‍ය සහ අධිකරණයේ ස්වාධීනත්වය කෙරෙහි අපගේ දැඩි කැපවීමෙන් අපි එක්සත් වෙනවා. තම ස්වාධීනත්වයේ තර්ජනයක් වූ විට තමන්ට කතා නොකළ හැකි විනිශ්චයකාරවරියන් වෙනුවෙන් කතා කිරීම නීතිඥ වෘත්තියේ අපගේ වගකීමක්. එය තමයි අප මේ ඉෂ්ට කරන්නේ.
Professor Vasantha Senaviratne from the University of Colombo pointed out that executive, legislature and the judiciary should function with balance.
අපේ ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාව පැහැදිලිව කියලා තියෙනවා මේ පරමාධිපත්‍ය බලය තුල ක්‍රියාත්මක වන්නේ.
The Constitution makes it clear that the mandate is the people's executive power and the people's judicial power. It is a fundamental right. Therefore, all the institutions must function and exercise their powers as per the concept of the fundamental constitution. If government institutions function in a manner that undermines the aspirations of the people, the value of the mandate is also undermined. The devolution of power cannot be executed in a verbatim manner. There need to be some checks and balances. It is not wise to award excessive powers to an institution, and doing so would erode the mandate of the people and the fundamentals of democracy. Therefore, the judiciary needs to remain independent.
එබඳු රාජ්‍යක ජනතාවගේ තමා සතු ඒ ඊටාම වැදගත් අයිතිවාසිකම් යටපත් වෙනවා කියන එක. ඉතින් අන්න ඒ කාරණේ නිසා තමයි අපි දකින්නේ අධිකරණය ඊටාමත්ම ස්වාධීන විය යුතුයි.
Former President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, President's Counsel Salia Peris, also attended the forum.
අපි නීතිඥ සාමූහිකය හැටියට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ නීතිඥ ප්‍රජාව ඉදිරියටත් මේ රටේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ අයිතිවාසිකම් වෙනුවෙන් කටයුතු කරයි කියලා. මේ රටේ අධිකරණයේ ස්වාධීනත්වය ආරක්ෂා.
As the lawyers collective, our aspiration is that the legal community will continue to represent the rights of the people of this country. We hope the country's legal community will have the strength to protect the independence of the judiciary. The Hindu newspaper in India refers to the legal community as the voice of reason. We understand the importance of an independent judiciary. Former SSP Shania Besekar understands the importance of a strong judiciary. We do not have the ability to appoint committees and take months to review issues and then wait for the reports of the committee. We also have no use of those who do not fulfill their duties. The legal community has a responsibility and they must fulfill it. That is how the legal community functioned in 2013 during the impeachment of the Madam Chief Justice. We hope to strengthen the legal community through this movement. The issues in the country are worsening. There is an issue with democracy. There is a crisis in governance. Institutions need to be strong, and the foremost institution that needs to be strengthened is the court.
This is of governance. පාලනය පිළිබඳ ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඒ තුල ආයතන ශක්තිමත් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ ආයත ශක්තිමත් විය යුතු ආයතන අතර ප්‍රමුඛ ආයතනයක් තමයි අධිකරණය.
Parliamentarian M.A. Sumandiran also spoke at the event.
Judiciary has a separate, a distinct and an important independent function in the structure of democracy, and that must be preserved whatever happens. That space for the judiciary must not be transgressed into by the other organs or anyone else. We do criticize judgments. When a professor is here, academically, even otherwise, wrong judgments are openly criticized, and that's good. That is good for the judiciary, that's good for democracy, that's good for freedom of speech. But we will not allow the judiciary to be attacked, the judiciary to be subjugated and made to follow the dictates of others. Independence of the judiciary is fundamental to any democratic system. Time and again this happens, that the rulers who constitute the executive and are part of the legislature think that they must have their own way, that there must not be any interference into what they think is their preserve. But that is where an independent judiciary comes in, to protect the rights of the citizen, to protect the rights of the people, and in that functioning, the judiciary has a singular and a very specific, important role to play. Not just between citizen and citizen, but nowadays more and more between the state and the citizen. To uphold the social contract that we have in the form of our constitution, give it efficacy, give it effect, so that it's not dead letter.
The Daily Mirror reporter that UK's Channel 4 is preparing to broadcast a program to reveal shocking details over the Easter Sunday attacks in Sri Lanka.
The Times in the UK also reported that Channel 4's program is based on the claims made by whistleblowers, which it says alleges complicity by officials loyal to the Rajapaksa family.
The Times said that Channel 4 based its program on the claims made by Hanzir Azad Maulana, the whistleblower who at one time was the spokesperson and finance secretary of present Sri Lankan State Minister Sivanesature Chandrakanthan. Hanzir Azad Maulana is currently overseas seeking political asylum in Switzerland. It added that Maulana served for years as an aide to Pillayan, a political loyal to the Rajapaksas, who met the bombers while he was in prison facing charges of the murder of a political opponent. It noted that Maulana claimed Pillayan immediately saw the utility of extremists only interested in death. It added that Maulana claimed Pillayan and Saleh engineered their release from prison before he arranged for Saleh to meet them.
Extract from the Times.
One highly placed insider claims in an interview with dispatches to be aired in the UK on Channel 4 tomorrow that he set up a 2018 meeting between a senior military intelligence official, Suresh Saleh, and the Islamic State affiliated bombers to hatch a plot to destabilize Sri Lanka and facilitate the Rajapaksas' return to power. Hanzir Azad Maulana, the whistleblower, claims, quote, "The meeting finished. Suresh Saleh came to me and told me the Rajapaksas need an unsafe situation in Sri Lanka. That is the only way for Gotabaya to become president. The attack was not a plan made in just 1 or 2 days. The plan was 2 to 3 years in the making, unquote. Maulana fled Sri Lanka last year and has presented his testimony to European intelligence agencies and the United Nations. They are treating his claims as credible and investigating.
End of extract from the Times.
Moreover, Hanzi Razad Maulana had also revealed an incident that took place on the day of the attacks.
Extract from the Times.
Maulana also claimed to receive a call from Saleh on the morning of the bombings, asking him to go to the Taj Samudra Hotel in Colombo and collect one of the men, but he was unable to do so. CCTV footage shows one of the bombers receiving a call inside the Indian-owned hotel before leaving suddenly. Hours later, he detonated explosives inside a smaller Colombo hotel.
End of extract from the Times.
The Times also reported that Channel 4 had also quoted the claims made by a second whistleblower, an unnamed senior government official, in its program on the Easter Sunday attacks.
Extract from the Times.
A second whistleblower, an unnamed senior government official, backed Maulana's account of Saleh's ties to the bombers and claimed that military intelligence repeatedly thwarted police investigations before and after the bombings. Officials said, quote, "When this regime came to power in 2019, all officers connected to the investigation were transferred out. The investigation was completely sabotaged," unquote.
End of extract from the Times.
The Times also said that the documents obtained by Channel 4 also appear to show several false leads presented by military intelligence to throw police off the ISIS cell's trail before the bombings. It added that Suresh Saleh was promoted to head of military intelligence when Gotabaya Rajapaksa won power on a promise to restore security 6 months after the Easter Sunday attack. The Daily Mirror reported that present Chief of the State Intelligence Service, Major General Suresh Saleh, had produced documents to Channel 4 to claim that he was not in Sri Lanka on the dates the alleged contact with the bombers was made. It added that following Suresh Saleh's response, Channel 4 had changed the title of the program and will telecast it on Tuesday, the 5th of September 2023. According to the Times, neither Pillayan nor the Rajapaksa family responded to Channel 4's requests for comment. Of the Easter Sunday victims who died, 43 were foreign tourists, including many children. Anders Holch Poulsen, the Danish billionaire, and his wife Anne lost 3 of their 4 children. Anders Holch Poulsen owns a majority share in the clothing giant ASOS and is the UK's largest private landowner.
The defamation case filed by the Director General of the State Intelligence Service, Major General Suresh Saleh, against Reverend Father Cyril Gamini Fernando for making a defamatory statement during an online session was called up in the presence of Colombo Chief District Judge Sandan Vithana today.
Major General Suresh Saleh had filed a defamation case against Reverend Father Cyril Gamini Fernando, seeking 50 million rupees in damages. The case was filed based on a statement made by Reverend Father Cyril Gamini Fernando during an online forum on the 23rd of October 2021 on the 2019 Easter attacks.
That case was taken up. However, the complainant had not produced a proxy. Thus, a month's time was given and it was only produced today. We need time to peruse it. Yet, the case was taken up and thereafter postponed to February.
මං හිතන්නේ මුළු ලෝකෙටම දැන් පේනවා මේ පාස්කු බෝම්බ ප්‍රහාරයේ පිටුපස්සේ ඉන්න සැබෑ චූදිතයෝ කවුද කියලා.
The real perpetrators behind the Easter Sunday attacks are being exposed to the world. The international community is now aware of those who planned and aided the attacks. Channel 4 will make a revelation tomorrow that will embarrass the country's political system. Our political system should be ashamed of itself for the fact that the international community is doing justice for this.
අපේ දේශපාලන තන්ත්‍රය පිළිබඳව අපි ලැජ්ජ වෙන්නට ඕන.
Director General of the State Intelligence Service, Major General Suresh Saleh, has sent a letter of demand seeking 50 million rupees in damages from Reverend Father Rohan de Silva for making defamatory comments during a media briefing held on the 21st of August. The Freedom Defenders movement commented on this in Colombo.
දැන් ඔය සුරේෂ් සලේ රාජ්‍ය බුද්ධි සේවාවේ අධ්‍යක්ෂක වැඩ කරන්නේ.
The Director General of the State Intelligence Service, Major General Suresh Saleh, is working under the President. So, before he files a private plaint as a person holding such a position, he needs permission from the person he reports to, and that is the President. So, had Suresh Saleh obtained permission from Ranil Wickremesinghe to send a letter of demand to Reverend Father Rohan De Silva?
ඔය එන්තරවාසිය රොහන් සිල්වා පියතුමාට යවලා තියෙනවා.
News first with the people.
The convention of the United National Party, which was scheduled to take place in Colombo on Sunday, the 10th of September, was postponed indefinitely. The General Secretary of the UNP, Palita Range Bandara, elaborated on this decision at a media briefing in Sirikota today.
We held an emergency meeting with the President on Sunday, and the Management Committee decided to postpone the convention planned for the 10th indefinitely, considering the weather. The President, as the leader of the party, requested the establishment of 70 Balamandala groups ahead of the convention. We were able to successfully complete the programs for 153 Balamandala groups. We have only 9 left. We were unable to conduct these 9 Balamandala groups due to the inefficiency of the 12 organizers and their inability to work together. 2 personnel who failed to fulfill their responsibilities have already been removed from those positions.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna says that a new program will be implemented in the future.
The people have been given what they asked for. Even if we aren't united as a party, President Ranil Wickremesinghe is giving what the people asked for. People didn't ask for subsidies and said to work together as a country and impose taxes. People said that it is wrong to reduce taxes and it is wrong to grant subsidies, and the President is following exactly that. These people took to the streets and engaged in a struggle, and today they are being given what they asked for. As a party, we do not agree with this. This is what the people asked for. In the future, we will present a whole different program to the people. If the people like it, they will vote for us. But if they prefer to continue this way, they can choose that as well. In a democratic country, we have to move forward based on the will of the people.
Sri Lankan professionals today warned that the government that if it does not keep its promises, strict trade union action will be taken.
The warning to the government comes ahead of the visit by the IMF delegation to Sri Lanka on the 15th of September to conduct the first review of the Extended Fund Facility, or the EFF arrangement for Sri Lanka.
The Federation of University Teachers Association stressed that the President should act according to the written assurance he gave in the month of March.
In March, the President in writing assured us that the tax system would be amended by the month of June and that a solution will be given to the problems faced by the university teachers and all the professionals in this country relating to the tax system. But that hasn't been done yet. We notified the President in writing yesterday that we cannot tolerate this anymore. We clearly mentioned that the plans of the government in relation to this must be revealed to the general public. If the government does not respond to that, we will definitely have to opt for strikes.
The Government Medical Officers Association emphasized that they will have to take strict action if steps are not taken to provide a fair solution.
Looking back, the rulers of the country are still in the same place as they were last year. Within the past year, around 1,500 doctors have left the country. The most crucial fact is that there are around 5,000 doctors still retained in the country who have fulfilled all the requirements to migrate. Only 20,000 doctors are retained in the government service. So 5,000 out of 20,000 is 1/4 of the total number of doctors. We cannot take this easy. So the week starting from today will be a crucial one. We are ready to take this issue to the people of this country. If the rulers of the country still don't understand as to what should be done, as a trade union, we may have to take more drastic measures to influence the relevant parties going beyond that.
In more related news, port trade unions in Sri Lanka are planning to stage protests citing the effects the domestic debt optimization program would have on the EPF and the ETF. Trade unions met in Colombo today to elaborate on their plans.
Those who led the country to bankruptcy are adding that burden to the public. The Ranil Rajapaksa government is attempting to loot the EPF and the ETF. The port trade unions have united and decided that on Wednesday at noon we will protest at the Khan Clock Tower in Fort and will hand over a petition to the president. As trade unions, we have our powers, but we will not use them. This is just the beginning. If our demands are not heard, we will take the next step.
ඒවට අහුම්කම් දෙන්නේ නැත්නම් අපි ඊළඟ ක්‍රියාමාර්ගවලට යනවා.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා වර අධිකාරිය මේ වෙනකොට
The Sri Lanka Ports Authority is 69% privatized. We only get 15% from that, and the 85% revenue is taken overseas. The government cannot function due to such short-sighted economic policies. Therefore, they are looting the EPF and the ETF and imposing unjust tax regimes.
පනතක් ගෙනල්ලා තියෙනවා.
මේ ජනාධිපතිවරයාට මේ දේවල් කරන්න ජනවරමක් තියනවාද? එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ජනවරමක්
Does the president have a mandate to engage in these acts? Does the parliament have the mandate to do so? The president has less than 2% of the votes. The president serves as the leader of the group that led the country to bankruptcy. He is not a people's leader. If he has a mandate, he has a responsibility towards the people. What is the fate of the worker who placed high hopes on the EPF? Can the president make such decisions in parliament? If a bill is passed in parliament, the act can be enforced. However, can a proposal be moved to parliament and action taken?
යෝජනාවක් ගෙනල්ලා පුළුවන් ද මේ රටේ මේ අද ගන්න ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න?
A red alert landslide warning has been issued to the Ahaliyagoda Divisional Secretariat in the Ratnapura district due to inclement weather. The National Building Research Organisation says landslide warnings issued to several divisional secretariats in Ratnapura, Kegol, Gaul and Kalutara districts continue to be in effect.
Now, the Met Department forecasts showers exceeding 50 millimeters in several areas of Sri Lanka tonight, including the western and Sabaragamuwa provinces. The Disaster Management Centre says torrential rains have displaced 98 people from 28 families in 3 districts.
The highest rainfall recorded over the 24-hour window that ended at 7 this morning was from Lakshakanda Ratnapura. It was measured at 91.5 millimeters. Many low-lying areas in the Ratnapura town were flooded this morning. Our cameras captured how the road leading to Dambuluwana in the Alapatha Divisional Secretariat had been inundated from Radalla. Low-lying areas on the road in Mudduwa, Ratnapura were flooded. The Molkava Road in Bulat Singhala was flooded after the Kuda Ganga overflowed. This was due to one floodgate of the Kukule Ganga reservoir being opened this morning.
The motion of no confidence against Health Minister Keheliya Rambukwala is to be taken up for debate in Parliament on Wednesday.
Public petitions supporting the motion were signed in several locations today.
Parliamentarian of the Samagi Janabalavega, Gayantha Karunatilaka, had organised a program to obtain signatures opposite the Karapete Teaching Hospital in Gaul. A program to collect signatures was also conducted in front of the Polonnaruwa General Hospital. Public signatures were collected in support of the no confidence motion drawn against Health Minister Keheliya Rambukwala in Colombo Fort this afternoon. Meanwhile, parliamentarian Udaya Mampila expressed his support to the no confidence motion drawn against the health minister.
A hospitalized patient has only 2 choices, to either go home or to the grave. Every MP who believes that the patients must go home healthy will vote in favor of the no confidence motion. We believe that the MPs who believe that the patients should end up in their graves will oppose this no confidence motion.
Parliamentarian Patali Champikaranavaka said he will support the no confidence motion drawn against the health minister.
Oh, they know it, right?
Not only I will vote in favor of this motion, I also signed it. Political authorities have become a part of the medicine mafia in the health sector. It was always there in the health sector, especially in the recent past. By not implementing the NMRA Act since 2020, by pressurizing the NMRA, they removed our specialist doctors and professors and appointed people who are known to them in those positions. This resulted in a catastrophic situation. Now our children are dying as a result. Due to this, our country has faced a serious problem. So even though this is a symbolic goal for the health minister, these officials and the people who bring these smuggled drugs should be held responsible for this.
The Freedom People's Congress also expressed their opinions on the no confidence motion against the health minister.
Our country's health system has never experienced a tragic situation of this kind. On the other hand, Chairman of the NMRA, Professor Jayaratna, accepts that in public. There is no point in talking about the health policy of this country when inferior medicines are brought down to the country and when such medicines are being offered to the innocent people. This country doesn't have a proper health policy. The health policy is collapsed. In such an occasion, the question before the MPs of Pohottuwa is whether they can go to their respective hometowns after protecting this government and its health minister. It is a matter which must draw the attention of the members of the SLPP.
The results of the 2022 GCE Advanced Level Examinations were released today. The results of the 2022 GCE Advanced Level Examinations can be accessed via the Department of Examinations website, that is www.doenets.lk. Spokesperson for the Department of Examinations, Lasika Samarakun, says that schools will be able to download the results within 24 hours. He also adds that details of the students' performance for individual subjects will be available tomorrow. Moving on with other local developments, Litrogas increased the prices of its domestic products with effect from midnight today.
Litrogas chairman Mudita Piris announced on Monday that the price of the 12.5 kilogram domestic LP gas cylinder will be increased by 145 rupees to 3,127 rupees. A 5 kilogram domestic LP gas cylinder will be increased by 58 rupees to 1,256 rupees. A 2.3 kilogram domestic LP gas cylinder will be increased by 26 rupees to 587 rupees.
If we combine both months, we need to impose a price hike of between 960 rupees and 981 rupees. We understood that there would be a price revision this month, and when we placed the orders, we placed an additional 10,000 metric tons for this month as well. Therefore, we were able to pass on the profits we made to the consumer.
අධික ප්‍රමාණයක් ගිය මාසෙත් ඔගත් එක්කම වැඩිපුර ඇනවුම් කළා. ඒ නිසා අද අපිට පුළුවන් වෙලා තියෙනවා ඒ ලැබපු ඒ ලාභය ආයතනෙත් කොටසක් දරාගෙන පාරිභෝගිකයන්ට ලබා දෙන්න.
Before Sri Lanka experienced an economic crisis, a 12.5 kilogram domestic LP gas cylinder was priced at rupees 1,493. Thereafter, in January 2022, the price increased to 2,750 rupees. In April 2022, the price skyrocketed to 4,860 rupees. However, in 2023, the price was reduced from time to time, and it was decided to maintain the reduced price in August. This was the first price increase by LP after repeatedly reducing the prices of domestic LP gas cylinders.
Laughs Gas on Monday increased the prices of its domestic LP gas products. The 12.5 kilogram domestic gas cylinder was increased by 145 rupees to 3,835 rupees. The price of a 5 kilogram domestic gas cylinder was increased by 59 rupees to 1,535 rupees.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that his country is sensitive to the needs of Sri Lanka.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi had told India's PTI that India has been greatly sensitive to the needs of our valued neighbour Sri Lanka during their tough times. In an exclusive with PTI, the Indian Prime Minister said that India looks at building consensus to evolve a framework to help debt-ridden low-income economies. Modi emphasized that the debt crisis is a matter of great concern for the world, especially for developing countries, while noting that significant emphasis was placed on addressing the global challenges posed by debt vulnerabilities, especially for the global south. He pointed out that those countries that have gone through debt crisis before gives great importance to financial discipline. In July, IMF Chief Kristalina Georgieva pitched for a speedier debt restructuring process for vulnerable countries. India is hosting the G20 summit on the 9th and 10th of September in its capacity as the current chair of the grouping.
Over 900,000 tourists visited Sri Lanka so far in 2023.
Tourist arrivals in Sri Lanka crossed the 900,000 mark this year on the 30th of August, according to the latest statistics released by Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority. According to SLTDA, 900,708 tourists arrived in the country so far this year, which is an increase against 719,978 total arrivals reported for the entire year of 2022. At the same time, Sri Lanka's Bureau of Foreign Employment revealed that 200,026 people have registered with the SLBFE for overseas employment so far in 2023. According to records from the SLBFE, 311,000 Sri Lankans registered for foreign employment and left the country. The Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment said that over 300,000 Sri Lankans are expected to leave for overseas jobs in 2023.
Former Chief Business Officer of Google X, Mo Gaudat, says artificial intelligence is the biggest milestone in human history. He was speaking at an event held in Colombo recently.
The event, titled An Evening with Mo Gaudat, the former Chief Business Officer of Google X, was held in Colombo recently. The event focused on the future of artificial intelligence.
When we look at AI as, in my personal point of view, the biggest milestone in human history, because when AI joins our world, you have to understand that the episode of history where humanity was the smartest being on the planet is about to end, okay? And that kind of massive seismic change, if you think about it, needs to be taken with a lot of attention.
Mo Gaudat is the former Chief Business Officer of Google X, and in recent years he has focused on the dangerous implications of rapid AI development.
The closing ceremony of the Apit Law School International Negotiation Competition 2023 was held yesterday.
The final round of the Apit Law School International Negotiation Competition 2023 was held on Sunday. ALSINC 2023 saw the participation of 20 plus universities and 35 plus assessors representing 15 plus countries from around the world. It was the third edition of the competition, which is designed to raise awareness of alternative dispute resolution techniques. The day's proceedings began with the final round, in which OP Jindal Global University tested their negotiation skills against the Royal Institute of Colombo, with Royal Institute of Colombo emerging victorious. The OP Jindal Global University emerged runners-up, with the Hillary Clinton School of Law of Swansea University clinching the second runner-up title. The closing ceremony was graced by President's Council Sarath Jayamanna.
The second leg of the LOLC Divisavya program continued for the 16th day today. The program took place centering the Anuradhapura district.
The LOLC Divisavya program is taking place to support the Sri Lankan student population, and the second leg of the program aims to provide school books and stationery items for 1 year free of charge to government schools with less than 100 students. This worthy initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC group and the Ministry of Education. Over 1,500 school students from 21 schools in the Anuradhapura education zone were provided school books and stationery by the LOLC Divisavya program at the Zonal Education Office. Another leg of the LOLC Divisavya program took place at the Talava Shilpaloka Primary School, Kandrugasweva Vidyalaya and Thammannagama Aluthweva Vidyalaya, and several other schools. In addition, students were also provided school books and stationery items at the Tamuttegama Zonal Education Office. School books and stationery items were distributed to students at the Kalaya Amunukola Vidyalaya in Eppawala, Ihala Halmillava Sri Parakum School in Eppawala, the Uskala School in Galnava and the Valasweva School in Galnava. The LOLC Divisavya program will continue to support the future of Sri Lanka's student population.
Farming communities in Sri Lanka contribute immensely to the nation, but the lives of those engaged in farming is far from comfortable, and their worries have worsened in recent times.
While the fertilizer crisis, fuel shortages and failure to fetch reasonable prices for their harvests continue to burden them on a daily basis, the arid weather in Sri Lanka compounded their woes.
It was then that Gammadda understood the need to support these communities and stepped in to reduce their worries in whichever way possible.
Today, Gammantha launched its dry ration distribution campaign in order to be a silver lining in their cloud of burdens.
The dry ration distribution campaign was carried out today to support farming communities in 4 districts. One Gammantha team toured the villages of Bopalewewa, Katuwewa and other villages situated on the Walava left bank in the Hambantota district and distributed dry rations. Another team doled out dry ration packs to farming communities in the Ibbagamo Divisional Secretariat in the Kurunegala district. Dry ration packs were distributed among families in the Rasagala farming cantonment including Balangoda, Baddekanda and Jasinghakanda in the Ratnapura district. The 4th Gammantha team met farming communities in the Kandavale Divisional Secretariat in the Kilinochchi district and distributed dry rations. Another distribution of dry ration packs was conducted at the Kattakadu village in Dharmapuram to ease the burdens of fishing communities surrounding the Kalmadu River.
And with that, we wrap up Prime Time News tonight.
Take care and good night.